On my life, I'm back. Got my little tractor. The tyres are on their way, but they've been held up by the supplier. But I believe by the end of next week, they're going to be here. Now, I've got quite an important job to do today. It's a little bit sad because I'm removing some prettiness from the field. But what happens in the fields, because they get quite overgrazed, and this one particularly in the winter with the boys in here, is we get an awful lot of buttercups. And as pretty as they look, they're not ideal because they are a weed and they contain this oil in them that can cause blisters. So we sometimes get like little scabby blisters around the horses' heads at this time of year because of the buttercups. Now, they don't tend to eat them because there is plenty of grass, but, you know, linking it into Iceman, I know that if they were eating them, it could be a cause of ulcers. I'm not saying that that is the reason he's got ulcers, but, you know, you just try to think of everything and try to eliminate any risk. So what I'm doing today is I've got my very old ancient topper on the back of the tractor, and I'm just topping the heads off them all, and I'll do that several times throughout the year because I don't want to use a herbicide. I don't want to use something toxic. There's not a huge amount of options for us to get rid of them. I could overseed the field because obviously if there's more grass, that kind of discourages the buttercups from growing. The other thing, and please anyone correct me if I'm wrong, is that if I can get some lime on the land later this year, that should slightly change the acidity of the soil so that the buttercups aren't likely to thrive as much. But as I say, correct me if I'm wrong. I know the one year, several years back, that I did get some lime on, there certainly weren't as many buttercups. As I'm not very good at pre-planning because there's always so much going on, it was very much a last minute decision today. This is the PTO and the attachment on here, and I've just got one little pin that is missing and not working properly, so this arm keeps falling off, and unfortunately there's not anyone who can come out and do it for me today or in the next couple of days. But I'm going to get on with getting all these buttercups sorted today, because what I'd like to do is get the boys moved back in here from this field over here, Muddy Pool, where they are at the moment. This is the other little bit to sort out, because this is one of the only fields where we don't have a natural water source. So if we're to shut them just in this field, then we need to bring water down to them. So we have a hose over there that actually runs up to the house, and we have to keep these blue trugs filled up. But it gets a bit boggy round here, even in the middle of summer. So I think we're going to relocate them this year. That's one field done. And now down to Uber and Nero's field. I'm gone for a couple of hours with my tractor, and I come back. There's Annie, his teddy bear having scratches, there's Nero munching. And check this out. He's already got 3/4 of the felt on. Jodie and I are heading off to Mel's this afternoon after all that tractoring. So I've got Doubtson here. And Jodie's actually taking Mabel. And then Annie's blocking the way. Annie, darling, you're going to have to move through. I think Annie always wants to come on a road trip. Come on down, you can load yourself. Anya was even trying to put her head in the living area while Jodie was getting Jim and Nell in. I think she really does want to come with, but she can't. Little Peppa Pig. Because Jodie couldn't bring Iceman, because he needs a little bit longer to recover, she decided to bring little Peppa. He's not been to Mel's for a long time, and she's never had a groundwork session here. So they're just getting towards the end of their session. Mel's sat over there in her hut. I'm sure Jodie will update you on what they've been focusing on today. Meanwhile, I've got little Dow over my shoulder here. I've ridden her for the last 2 times. Yeah, so today we're just going to do some groundwork. Aren't we, Dow Dow? She's stood in her favourite place by the gate, just watching what's going on. Not only do we have a beautiful looking roof today, but look what I've just been and picked up. The first batch of the fly rugs that have been printed up with all the sponsors' names. Unfortunately, it's not all of them because Malcolm, who's been printing them from Whippersnappers, ended up having a power cut and now he's had to go away for a couple of days. But this is the first ones. I'm going to start getting them on them over the weekend and obviously share lots of video with you. Malcolm has very kindly even done each of the horses in their own colours. So we've got Uber, sponsored by Lisa. Nika, sponsored by Nancy and Joy. Now some of these have obviously got more than 1 or 2 sponsors and those names are on the other side. There we've got Hannes, sponsored by Peggy. Hida, sponsored by Donna and Tara. Doubtson, sponsored by Leslie and Tara. Prince, sponsored by Poppy. Oh, who we got next? Mr. JB, sponsored by Brenda and Sharon. And Micah, sponsored by Mary. And obviously, when all the others arrive, we'll get lots of video of them as well. Meanwhile, kicking the door behind me and looking rather dishevelled is little Nero monster. Have you been burying your head in the hay? I think you have. You do look super grubby. Let me have a look at your eye. Let's show everybody how good your eye looks now. Look, it's all back to normal. Very handsome boy. And your field's all free of buttercups now. So I think we'll let you go back out there tomorrow. You should really be in the other stable with the quick kick. But tonight we've got little Annie in. So Teddy's having free rein with Hida. Annie's having a night in because she's doing a very important carriage drive for some visitors in the village tomorrow. And what have you been doing this evening?
I've been performing at a Christian Aid concert.
You were? What were you singing?
I was singing with a group of people from my school.
Yeah.
Revolting Children from Matilda.
Are you a revolting child?
Yeah.
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 And what are you doing tomorrow?
Working.
Where are you working? That's Nero, who just wants it to be all about him, don't you?
Little attention-seeking host.
Yes. Where are you working tomorrow?
Hailed in Cartmel.
The best ice cream shop
In the world.
Yeah. And on this barn, just show you inside, it's still very messy in here, but look, we've got a waterproof building. So we now need to get it all cleared out because there's still lots of rubbish in here. And then Michael's going to just screed over the floor. Oops. And put a new bit of concrete out the front here. And then Chris is going to do us a quote to put some gates across here. Rather than blocking it up and doing a traditional stable door, we want it nice and open and just to have one gate at sort of this height here so that there's a good airflow and they can put their heads over. But it's so nice to see it looking so neat and tidy on the outside now. And then it's the tiles to go on and the guttering. This did make me giggle when I came to the board and had a look at this. We've had Susan in today, who comes and volunteers with us on a Friday. And when she wrote down the different things that she'd done today, I love this, arguing with Nero about possession of a bucket, I won. I love it. You see, Nero, you don't win all the time.